Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kire here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And in today's video, I thought it'd be pretty fun to break down some of the unique abilities in this game. A lot of abilities in this game that are pretty generic and a lot of characters have, but there's a few, some are really good, some are, okay, but they're unique to a very select amount of characters. Before we begin, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. Hidden abilities here, and we got a few examples of what is a hidden ability style character. So for example, we got Baron here. And he has this hidden ability, Sky Piercer. Attacks all enemies, deals pure damage, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. So a lot of them are pretty cool, these hidden abilities. For example, see how secret skill Sky Piercer, when he attacks an enemy, will attack all remaining enemies with surplus damage. If this target is killed, it has a 10% chance to unlock the secret skill Sky Piercer. He also has this move, unlock the secret skill Sky Piercer, 10%, 20%. But when he actually does unlock it, does a ton of damage. Really cool ability. Also, another character on this list is going to be McCabe. He has a 20% chance. They just buffed it. It used to be a 10%, but with the most recent change, he went from a 10 to a 20%. To unlock Peril for one turn, also has a 20% chance to fill this champion's turn meter by 25% when attacked. And then Peril is a super hard-hitting move and also blocks revive. It's a really impactful move here, which is attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore shield, block damage buffs, as well as defense. Enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. One of the best moves. Not only does it ignore defense, but it also blocks revive. The only character that I can think of that does the block revive and ignores 100% of the defense, I believe, is Bloodgorged here. He does the full defense. Like for example, Rhodos, he ignores 75% of the defense. So having that full defense ignore and does the block revive is pretty rare. Next on the list, I want to talk about like partner abilities. So there's certain characters, since we just kind of went over Rhodos, I think we should start with him. Whereas there's synergy between Rhodos and the Sifi, the Lost Bride. For example, Sifi actually, this is one of the most frustrating, most busted passives in the game, trying to beat this in Arena. Can't stand it. Very, very powerful ability here, which is heals each ally by 15% of their max HP at the start of their turn, has a 40% chance of removing freeze and fear debuffs from each ally at the start of their turn. Then here's the part that's infuriating, which is removes all debuffs from Rhodos, the Lost Groom, at the start of their turn if they're on the same team. So obviously just an amazing ability, especially in Arena. He's already really good. She's already really good. And then you can't even when you can apply, like you cleanse her buffs that she did because she already has block debuffs as it is. And then she has that built into her kit that automatically clears him to then one-shot the rest of your team. So very good ability, really annoying. That's pretty, obviously a very unique move there. And then their partner ability is pretty unique as well. And then we got more partner abilities that are actually balanced. For example, we have Sacred Order here. We got Venus, which she has synergy with Cupidus. She actually gets a really cool move when she's paired with Cupidus, but Cupidus is not necessarily one of the better characters. Also, it does require you pulling 2 legendary characters to get this, which is removes all buffs from all enemies, has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn. So very good ability. Being able to remove buffs is awesome. I like stuff like this. I wish this game would have this kind of cool effects are awesome, but it's like a cool ability that you're never going to get to use, which is kind of a bummer because a lot of them are actually pretty fun. And in the case of Rhodos and Sifi, completely busted. At least that one, they went halfway. They at least gave you a fusion event for Rhodos, and then you obviously have to get incredibly lucky to pull Sifi because she's a Void Legendary. At least they went halfway there when it comes to that team-wide synergy between 2 characters. This one's another really strong one. It's team-wide block debuffs buff with another ability associated with it. So very rare to have the team-wide block debuffs buff, but then to add something else on top of that is really good. And so there's 2 characters that I want to highlight that do this, which is Duchess here. She has it on here, the very good move. She has the increase attack by 50% buff, block debuffs buff, and places a perfect veil on everyone else. So obviously an crazy unique move and also crazy good. And then the other character, I've already complained about her a lot on this video, which is Sifi. And she fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%, places a block debuff buff, a 60% increase defense buff, and a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. So both of them very unique, both of them very good moves. Hers goes to a 3-turn cooldown. I believe hers does as well. Hooks down to a 4-turn cooldown. Both of them are incredibly oppressive, very good moves. Going to really help you clear a ton of content, super good moves, and also very unique. Definitely look at it. Obviously, if you pull one of those two characters, it's going to be a game changer for your account. One of the unique moves that is very sought after and highly known as being very rare is team-wide counterattack. There's only 3 characters that have this. We got Valkyrie here. She has it. She has a really good version of it where she has this amazing shield that comes with it for 3 turns. And then she provides counterattack to everyone on her team for 2 turns. Really cool ability. Definitely a highly sought after character. Next is going to be Martyr. Combination of increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown with counterattack buff is one of the best moves in the game. Super good. Only takes 1 book to get down there, which is awesome. Versus Valkyrie's, 7 books or whatever, something nuts. Once you have team 1 counterattack, you're instantly one of the best characters in the game. So unfortunately, very unique. I wish there was some way to make this a little bit more accessible. And then Skull Crusher rounds out the list as the only epic. He gives counterattack to all his allies, not himself. Unkillable buff on him when he does apply it is actually really cool. And people have abused it to survive longer in Clan Boss. Pretty useful, just as useful as the other ones. You got to build around it. You can abuse it a little bit more. I would say overall, Martyr and Valkyrie are obviously better characters. Skull Crusher definitely has his place as a very good character with Team 1 counterattack. Next on the list, as something very unique, is going to be Poison Explosion. And what I mean by that is being able to instantly detonate all your poisons when you've already applied them. And so the 2 characters that come to mind when I think of Poison Explosion is the first one. The key one is going to be Zavia here. Attacks all enemies. Enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived. Deals damage from all poison buffs on the target instantly. Poison debuffs will only deal half of the standard damage when this skill hits bosses. Very cool move when it comes to speed farming dungeons. For example, Fire Knight can get cleared exceptionally fast with this. Dragon can get cleared really fast with this. And then the other character is Elenarl. She also has the ability to. So the big key here though is you definitely want a character that is applying a lot of poisons. They get paired with characters like Bad L that apply a ton of AoE poisons. Both of those characters apply AoE poisons themselves. She does attacks all enemies, places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns, then places a second 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the attack is critical. So really cool to be able to apply that and then be able to nuke all the poisons afterwards, especially if you have other characters that are applying AoE. For example, Draco Morph would be really good for this too. And then you can just really nuke down, and then you combine that with the Prince Kymar, and then you're getting, sub 30-second runs. Very cool ability. Unfortunately, very unique. Next on the list, we have an AoE defense down and weaken ability. The 2 characters, they're some of the 2 best characters in the game. First one being Controversy himself is Draco Morph. This move right here, incredible. He has multiple, his whole kit's nuts, but here's the unique part of his kit that's really cool, which is places a 25% weaken debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So very cool ability. Cool thing about it too is that he's a blue affinity, so he has potential to hit weak against red. With this ability, he's just placing it. He's not doing damage with it. So all you got to worry about is accuracy. So moves like this, where you just want it to place, it's actually really cool that it's not doing damage. It's kind of counterintuitive, but in these situations, you definitely don't want it to hit anything. And the fact that it's the combination of defense down and weaken is really cool. And so I do want to say defense down is not a rare skill. Weaken is not a rare skill, but combining the 2 on one move is a rare skill. The rest of his kit's nuts. And then the other character that can do this is Venus. Venus has the ability to, on her A2, is she has a 100% chance when booked of placing a 60% decreased defense and a 25% weaken for 2 turns. So it's identical skill. Cool thing about her is it actually does damage, but she's void, so you don't have to worry about it not placing. So great move, great in Spider, great in Clan Boss. Actually, it's just great everywhere. It's just, there's no place in the game where you do not want a decreased defense and a 25% weaken. Just no part in the game that you wouldn't want that. Some kind of honorable mentions, kind of cheesy ones when it comes to unique parts of a kit is going to be a couple arena style characters. First one's going to be Hegemon here. He has the ability to always goes first each round. Yeah, he's the only character in the game that has it, so obviously it's unique. He's on the list. Nothing much more to say about it. It's really cool to be able to go first. And then the other character is going to be Torment. One of the few characters that can punish characters gaining turn meter. He has it where he can freeze characters. So here's his passive here, which has a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the enemy each time they receive a buff or have their turn meter filled. The 15% chance applies for each effect individually in cases where an enemy receives multiple of these effects at the same time. Does not work with the effects from artifact sets, turn meter filling effects, for masteries, healing, or buffs or effects that take place at the start of a round. So they nerfed him. He used to be really annoying, but now they at least made him somewhat manageable. Very good character, very unique ability when it comes to this. Really turned the meta on its head. People that do damage based on enemy max HP. A very popular character, very discussed character when it comes to Coldheart here. She has this ability here that is damage based on enemy max HP. Super good on Spider, super good for Fire Knight. Also has the added benefit of decreasing the target's turn meter by 100%. So very good move there. And then we got Royal Guard. Royal Guard's next on the list here. Also a very good character. But his version is an AoE, but AoE move that does damage based on enemy max HP. Super good ability, really great for speed farming. Both of these characters are in a lot of very quick spider runs, very quick like dragon runs and stuff like that. And then also Fire Knight in the case of Coldheart. Then lastly out of the good ones, we have Septimus here. Really cool character. He's also going to be on the next list. Great segue for the next part of the list. But he has this move here, which is it does damage according to enemy max HP. Not really known as much as the other two characters when it comes to this part of his skill, but he's really known for the other part, which is actually happens to be the next part of the list, which is he has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. So that's a very unique ability of being able to take debuffs that are already on the enemy and then increasing the duration of them. And he's one of them. And next on the list of characters that increase debuff duration is going to be Warlord here. So let's pull him up. We got this orc guy here. He has it on his A1, which is really cool, especially if you pair him with characters that have counterattack. It really actually increases his ability to apply it. But I think the combination of that plus his shield is a really nice bonus. He adds a lot of survivability to your team. Stuff like this on a 40% chance on his A1 doesn't apply as much as you really think, especially when you're doing other moves as well. But it is a nice benefit. He is a really good character. I think where he really excels is Arena. The unique aspect of being able to extend debuffs is really cool. He has that ability. We'll save the best for last when it comes to extending debuffs. It's going to go to Vizier. By far the best at doing this. The difference is night and day. Whenever I watch someone that has Vizier on their team, the debuffs go up crazy. Whereas compared to people with Septimus and Warlord, it procs, but it doesn't proc nearly as much as Vizier because he has it on a 50% chance and he attacks 3 times. Warlord, for example, 40%. Vizier attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. So they're not even on the same plane when it comes to this ability. Unbelievable how good Vizier is. He's essentially in a league of his own when it comes to being able to extend debuff duration. The other characters, you kind of justify them for other reasons. Whereas with Vizier, you bring him in and he's going to extend those debuffs really well. Especially you combine it with a counterattack, it's just nuts. Those are unique ones. Some of them not so good, but a lot of unique abilities there. That should do it for me in this video. I had a lot of fun going over all the unique abilities in the game. I know I didn't cover every example of those unique abilities that I ended up bringing up in the video, but I am curious on what your guys' favorite unique ability in the game is. Let me know down in the comments below. If you want more content like this, please consider subscribing. It really helps with the channel, and you guys have a good one. Peace.